All right, gang, I told you at the top of the show we would have Adam Savage of Boston's Mongrel on the phone with me this week, and lo and behold, right now joining me by phone via Skype, via the internet. You gotta love it. Here he is, Adam Savage, guitar player for Boston's own Mongrel. How you doing, dude?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me on the show, Trevor.
Hey, glad to have you on, man. So I want to apologize. It's taken this long to have you on. I mean, we've been spinning you guys for a while now, and I apologize. It took us this many years to finally get you on.
No, it's cool, man. I appreciate all the support you guys have shown us over the years. And, yeah, that alone is greatly appreciated. I mean, God knows, the underground scene, we need lots more people like you. So, we're glad to finally get to do this.
Yeah, we just do what we can to get the word out. And speaking of get the word out, why don't we start with the basics for some people that are not familiar with Mongrel? Why don't you fill my listeners in a little bit on the history of Mongrel and what you guys, or should I say guys and one gal, are all about?
All right, cool. Let's see. Well, I started the band back in 2003. And for a little, what was it, like around '06 or so, we got signed to, '07, whatever. We got signed to Screaming Ferret Records with Locomotive Records. We put out a full-length album through them called Fear, Lies, and Propaganda. And for years, we were a male-fronted band. And then, there's some tensions in the lineup that happened over time, and eventually a couple of years ago we parted ways with our long-term singer, and we brought in our friend Jessica Sierra, who I'd known from the scene for years and become friends with, as a fill-in for some shows. And so on 3 days' notice, I told her, we have a Friday night gig at a good club in Boston, and we don't want to cancel, can you cover? And she's the only person I could think of who could pull this off. And so she's like, yeah, sure, no problem. So she does the show, works awesome, we have a blast. She covers a few more shows for us. We're doing the singer hunt, and she's like, I want to throw my name in the hat. Like, all right, cool. You've already done 8 shows for us at this point. It's kind of yours. She's like, nope, I need to audition. Like, okay. She's like, I'm not getting anything handed to me. She's like, I'm fucking working for it. So
yeah, I mean, usually when you get someone that does 8 or 9 live shows, it's usually kind of like, hey, you're in the band,
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was kind of like, all right, this is a formality, but whatever makes you happy. So then she did her audition. I'm like, all right, well, you're hired. So, and so then she joined the band officially, August 2010. And so since we were making a drastic change in the band, going from being a male-fronted band for a good, many years since our beginnings, to a female-fronted band, we went back into the studio right away, and we re-recorded 6 of the songs from the Fear Lies Propaganda CD we had done before. Just kind of reintroduce the band on familiar material with the new singer. Let people judge her on what they know and they're comfortable with. And, the response was awesome. So that's the New Breed of Old School EP, which is on iTunes and Amazon and all that good stuff. And so that went awesome. So we jumped back in the studio and we started work on what was to become the Reclamation EP, which came out in May of last year, 2011. And and what was going to be the new full-length album, Reclamation. Because originally we were planning on putting it out last year, but she had a whole bunch of stuff happen, personal life kind of things, and she ended up having to step down and take a hiatus from the band.
Right, I remember getting the press release saying that there was a change in the lineup and that she was leaving, and I remember getting something about maybe, I'd say a month and a half, 2 months later, saying that she had actually returned.
Actually, unfortunately, it was 6 months, and that was a hard 6 months for us. So, yeah, we had started talking throughout this spring this year, like, we kept in touch. I mean, like I said, we were friends anyway. And so this spring, you know, she hit me up and we were talking. And she's like, I miss you guys. Like, oh, well, we miss you too. She's like, I miss singing on stage. Like, well, we miss you singing on stage with us. And so why don't we fix this? So she came back, guns a-blazing, more fired up than ever. And, I mean, one of the things I love about her as a singer is she's got an amazing, you know, I was a fan of her of her and her other bands before she even joined our band. So I get to, like, you know, play music with one of my favorite singers in the area anyway, which is awesome. And then, so, I mean, she could, you know, do the aggressive stuff. She could do the melodic stuff. It sounded awesome. While she was gone, she learned how to scream really well. So she, like, came back, like, even more of a force to be reckoned with, which is, you know, phenomenal for us.
Yeah. And, that's kind of, if you think about it, that's kind of the way the scene is going when you look at a band like In This Moment as an example.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we're not quite, like, they do a lot more screamy stuff than we do, obviously, but it was just another, like, goddamn, she was like a force to be reckoned with beforehand, so now we're even more excited. But so now, when she came back full-time, we're like, you know, cool, we can finally put out the album that we've, you know, because it came out great, and we're really proud of it. But we just couldn't really put it out with her leaving. You know, because it just became one of those, like, all right, so we put it out, it goes great, and people want to, you know, like, oh, but we don't have a singer. So it was going to be awkward.
Right, kind of a similarity from what Anthrax had with Worship Music, that the original album was recorded and the guy left, and then it was, how do we put this out when the guy that was on it isn't even in the band?
Right. So we kind of got ourselves in one of those situations. And but as soon as she came back, I was like, all right, now it's time. And so I've been talking on and off, you know, with Tom Hazer. Used to run Corporate Punishment Records for years. You know, he started it. And now he has his own label, THC Music. And he's been kind of like a management consultant for us off and on over the years. You know, and we kind of know each other well. He's an awesome guy. And then, so I was like, hey, you know, Jeff is back. We want to put the album out, and we really want to work with you. And so, lo and behold, we kept talking, and he said he'd put the album out. So we signed on with his label, and, you know, started getting the release ready.
Awesome. Now, Reclamation is, for those of you wondering, Reclamation is due out on September 25th. And that, you know, talk to me a little bit. You just said it. You guys originally wanted to do Declamation and then follow that up with Reclamation. And since there was so much time in between, did that change anything when you guys started putting Reclamation together for the album, or was everything already kind of in the can and it was just a matter of you know, mixing everything?
Well, actually, the whole thing was done last year. Like, we had it mixed, mastered, artwork started, the whole deal. You know, when we kind of got the news that she was having to think about stepping down, and then when she finally had to. So, I mean, the thing's been in the can for a while. You know, we did some, you know, now once we got the whole process started again, you know, we decided to tweak the artwork, make the packaging even cooler than we originally thought of. You know, we went back and we just actually recently shot a video, which should be coming out the week of this interview. Yeah, it should be. I'm pretty sure it should be out in a few days. So probably by the time people are hearing this, that'll be out on YouTube and you know, I'm sure Facebook and all that kind of stuff. So that's for the song "Bored to Death," which is the first song on the new album.
Awesome and great. So I mean, you guys really have it, you know. So basically, it wasn't really a situation where you had to retweak everything. It was just a matter of it was there, ready to go, and now that everyone's back together and Jessica's back with that little bit extra kick, shall we say, in her vocals. Now you guys can really go out and give this album what it really needs to get out there to your fans and everyone.
Oh, absolutely. And obviously to keep ourselves entertained, we've been playing some of these songs live and stuff for quite a while, and, to the point where if we don't play some of them, people are asking for them, and so the fact, that finally we get to, share the actual recorded versions of them that, we're really happy with. It's really very rewarding because it's been a long time in the making for this. Because actually,
cool. I mean, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, because actually, to really emphasize how long in the making this has been, before Jeff even joined us a couple years ago, before he parted ways with the old singer and we parted ways with the drummer at the time too, we had recorded a lot of the same stuff with the intent of that being our full length. Back when we were still talking about extending our contract with Screaming Ferret. So, I mean, this has been, and that started 3.5 years ago. So, we kind of finished it once. The lineup kind of had to be reformed. Scrapped all that. Then we started all over again once we got Sierra in the band a couple of years ago. So it's been a long time coming.
Yeah, so this is kind of one of those albums that you guys have just been itching to get out there and, pump out to everyone in the world. It's one of those, it's there, it's ready to go. Kind of like, you're a dog hungry to get after, a rabbit or something in the field.
Exactly. I mean, I've had this ongoing half joke of, that this album's been my Chinese democracy. Yeah, just because, and actually, when we first started this, was actually before Chinese Democracy came out, and so when that came out, I'm like, oh, fuck, Axel beat me to get this out. How embarrassing.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, you don't have to worry, because I don't think the follow-up for Chinese Democracy is going to be out anytime soon. So
if he got the second one out before we got this, I was really going to be in need of some some clinical care.
I mean, that would be just oh, really? 13 years and he put 2? Wow, what are we missing?
Exactly. But yeah, man, I think it was just a matter of a little bit of the stars aligning and planets aligning and all that kind of good stuff. That the timing's right. We have the label involved now. We've got some really good people working on our team to help us with promotion and publicity. The people we just did the video with. It seems like it just feels like the time's right now.
Cool.
That it's finally clicked and it's where it's supposed to be, and we have an album we're real proud of and psyched to share with everybody. And
I think that's really, that's probably really the best way to do it. I mean, we've all heard the horror stories of a band putting an album out, rushing through it, not being happy with it, going out on tour, and then you find out, this band member is leaving because there was issue on the road because their parts weren't worked out on the album, so they got screwed in the live show. So it's a really key point that you guys are saying that you're happy with the album in its entirety before you put it out there.
Oh, no, absolutely. This, I personally feel like this has been worth the struggle and the wait. And I'm not a very patient person as far as that goes. But even I'm at the point where I'm you know what? It was worth it. I really believe that this is some of the best stuff we've ever done. The songs are good. The recordings are good. The band is feels right. It's finally, things happen. I'm not really big into organized religion type stuff, but it's, I definitely kind of believe that sometimes things happen when they're supposed to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Yeah, not really. I wouldn't say it's a religious thing. It's more of a for those that are into the idea of personal destiny, or so to speak. Things
yeah,
happen. Things happen for a reason at a certain time.
exactly, exactly. Whatever things we had to sort out in our lives or get the right people in place, and, and maybe, we have bands like The Refused now who are on tour, who, now they're selling out places and headlining festivals. And when they broke up 15 years ago after putting out The Shape of Punk to Come,
Mm-hmm.
they were playing dive bars in Georgia to 10 people. The world wasn't ready for it. So, I'm not saying that's our future necessarily. I wouldn't complain. But, maybe the time just wasn't right for it. And now the music climate or what people are looking for or, whatever kind of thing, it's the right time for it.
Yeah, now that brings up a good point too. Is you bring up the idea of the climate and the scene, if you will. Now you guys are based out of Boston, and how is the vibe up there in regards to the rock and metal scene? Because to me, there's a big argument right now here in the New York area that it's kind of barely holding on. We've lost a few big venues in recent years, and some are saying, well, it's dead here in the New York area, while those of us here in the area know it's far from dead. So, I mean, what's it like for you guys up in Boston? And I know you guys are going to be getting out and doing some dates for Reclamation. So, in addition to what's it like for you guys at home, what are your expectations getting out on the road?
Well, as far as the scene, I mean, I've heard, there's definitely some bands out of the New York scene that, I hear about up here, thanks to the internet and, people like you and through friends on Facebook from different areas. I mean, there's some cool bands down there in your area that, like AC Slate and the Dark Party and Pansy.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some good stuff coming out your way. Up here, that there's definitely, it seems like it may be heading toward a revival of the scene a bit. It seems like we just got signed. There's a few other bands up here who've got some good stuff going on. So maybe the scene's kind of growing back a bit, because it seemed like there were a lot of more established bands for a while, and a lot of them seem to have faded out, broken up, whatever. So now the Mass New Hampshire scene, there seems to be a lot of new bands. But there's also some of us who, fought through it all, who are finally some things are starting to click right and go, start happening up here again, which is nice to see. Obviously all the scenes kind of go in cycles, and, maybe this is the time for New England to finally get back on the map. It's been a while.
Yeah, and I was just talking to someone, in the industry the other day, and they had said to me it's that time now where it's time for rock and metal to come back into the top of the charts again. And this individual even said to me that it all starts in the Northeast. So it starts with Boston and New York when everything starts to turn. So who knows? We all could be onto something very big here in a matter of time.
Hey, if we're lucky enough to end up in that, changing the tide of the music scene again or something, and it did land in the right place at the right time, I'll be very, very happy.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I think we all would be. A lot of us, you guys have definitely done your time in the trenches, and along with a lot of us, it would be nice to finally see many of us get the scene back to where it was when, you want to see it be where it was, where it inspired us. None of us are, I don't know how, I don't want to say to give your age on the air, but I don't know how young you are compared to myself. And, I've seen the decline of the scene while I was in college, and now I'm starting to see it come back from where I was in high school, and it's kind of like, okay, that's what inspired me to get into the scene, and it's nice to see it getting back to that level.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like your early like 87 when Guns N' Roses and Metallica and Crew were still coming strong, and you had some, obviously you had some really shit music at the time too, but you had some really cool bands leading the pack and changing the dynamics. And then you had like your early 90s Seattle stuff just kind of changed the map. Then like late 90s into early 2000, you had like your Slipknot, your System of a Down, your Fear Factory breaking out, all that kind of stuff, which was real inspiring. And at least for me, there hasn't been a lot of new stuff in quite a while that's really inspired, like, oh my god, I love this new band. There's bands like The Bronx, who I love, and there's AC from the Dark Party's old band Trash Like Vision I loved, but they fell apart too soon. Bands like Amen, who've been around, but they were around in like 99. There's some cool stuff coming over from the UK. But it seems like at least what's kind of been shoved down our throats through the more corporate channels, I should say, for a while, it's just been really kind of bland and neutered. And so, which is why I feel that.
Go ahead.
And that's kind of why I think that, like, the pop and the hip hop markets have taken over the music industry again, is because there's nothing exciting coming out in the rock field at that level.
It's the truth. I mean, for a lot of years, there's a lot of bands that just kind of copied the sound of each other to kind of get by. I've often said on this very show, I will not play Trivium because when I first heard their song on Music Choice on cable, I turned around thinking it was brand new music from Metallica, and this was a year before Saint Anger came out. When I turned around and I saw Trivium, I'm like, oh, what? Now you're going to have a career as a cover band?
Yeah, exactly. And you have like your commercial rock bands who are, all over the airwaves over the last like half dozen years or so, but they all sound the same. You can't tell any of them apart. There's no personality. There's nothing distinctive anymore.
Right. The only ones really that stand out, if I had to say mainstream new band that stands out within the last couple of years, would be Five Finger Death Punch. They're really the only ones that have taken anything to a new direction, kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't know. Personally, they didn't do anything for me, and if I never hear that Bad Company cover again, it would be way too soon. But that's just my personal.
I stay away from that. It's a good cover, but it's overplayed. They have much better material on their albums than a cover, Yeah,
honestly, I probably got turned off them just because of the radio stuff and didn't give the rest of it a fair shot.
Well, but unfortunately, as well as many of us know, it's all about what the record label pays the FM and satellite stations to play. If they tell them to playing, a certain song, that's what you hear, and you hear it constantly.
Oh, absolutely. And it's not, and while, I guess the old paywall system doesn't quite exist like it used to, now it's well, we can't give you cash, so how about we give you this new Ford F-350 to give away to your audience? Or how about this trip to Vegas? Or, and so they just get around the payola stuff that way.
Right, there's ways around everything when you've got the money that some of these labels have, and unfortunately with so many stations being owned by one parent company, everyone plays the same thing.
Oh yeah,
that doesn't happen.
Your local commercial radio station is programmed by some guy in an office building in Arizona.
Right. Right, he's doing the programming for New York, L.A., Miami, and Ohio. You know,
Right.
so
So it's hard for for bands to break out when Clear Channel and Entercom and all these corporate entities own everything. Which is why the power of internet radio and shows like yours has become all the more important to the up and coming bands over the last bunch of years.
yeah, I mean that's the one thing I've even said to several people. The whole reason why the music scene is staying alive, and I don't just mean the indie scene. I'm also talking on the major level area is internet radio because we're not regulated. We can play whatever song we feel like playing, no matter what language is in it. We not have to worry about, oh, it's got one of those words that the FCC doesn't allow. And it's internet, so, if we play Mongrel out of Boston, someone in, Switzerland could hear it and fall in love with you guys.
Yeah, and believe me, like the first, even still to this day, I won't even front. But especially like the first few times where you're like, you get a message, whether back then it's probably MySpace, but like, oh, blah blah blah, like I'm from, Germany or Spain or whatever, and like I love your music. I'm like, what?
Yeah,
how the fuck do you know who we are?
so,
And that's what the beauty of the internet and internet radio is. I mean, it's kind of taking what college radio used to be, worldwide is awesome.
right. I mean, it's a whole nother level, and it's really good because it gives so many of the indie bands like yourself, and like you mentioned, Pansy from here in the New York area. You've got Snoo in California, and without internet radio, a lot of you guys would be stuck to whatever area you're from.
Exactly.
And that brings us around to the fact that you guys are doing some dates for the release of Reclamation, and in fact, the official CD release party is happening right here in Brooklyn at the Trash Bar on September 28th. And
absolutely.
You guys have a hell of a lineup. Now, did you guys select the bands on the lineup? Are these bands that you've worked with before?
No, honestly, we've never played with or met any of these bands. We played at the Trash Bar before, several years ago. And actually, the night we played there was crazy because there was like tornado watch and lightning, like this like massive storm over New York. And I remember
are you sure that wasn't last weekend? We had that last.
No, this was a few years ago, and I just remember looking at the sky down the street, and the scene in Ghostbusters where the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man's about to appear?
Yes.
That was the sky. Yellow, gray, black with lightning. I'm like, oh my god, where's Stay Puft?
Yeah.
But yeah, so I contacted Walter down there at the Trash Bar and hey, our album's coming out. We want to come to New York to kick it off. And he's like, actually, this really cool punk lineup this night. We need we have a spot for one more band. And so as I'm saying, the timing just happens to be right. So we landed the spot, and I went and go check out all the other bands. I'm like, oh, this is actually a really fucking cool lineup.
Awesome.
It's just a really good night of hard rock punk bands from the city, and it definitely should be a hell of a time. But come down, rock out, and have fun.
Awesome, man. I mean, it's going to be a great time. I urge everyone, if you don't have anything to do on Friday, September 28th, get on down to the Trash Bar and catch Mongrel for their CD release party, the CD Reclamation, available on September 25th. You guys doing everything, iTunes, physical, how's the distribution going to be for the album?
It'll definitely be like iTunes, Amazon, all that kind of good stuff. Actually, our label just like hooked up. I think they just announced it yesterday. They just hooked up distribution through a company called Fontana. I'm not quite 100% on every possible outlet it's going to hit and exactly, but it'll definitely be on all your normal online outlets. We're doing pre-sales actually through our Bandcamp page. So it's mongrel.bandcamp.com. You can pre-order the CD. There's some extra bonus package stuff too. So we'll be doing some things off of that. Obviously at our shows we'll have CDs for sale, and then we'll be hooking up. Probably be able to get order CDs off Amazon or Interpunk and all those kind of websites in the near future as well.
Awesome, and that's really great to hear. It's also great to hear you guys are still doing physical CDs. I'm old school. Don't get me wrong, I love iTunes and Amazon when I need something for airplay on the fly, but when it comes to buying an album, give me a physical CD any day of the week.
I'm the same way, man. I am the same way. I love having a tangible CD in my hand. Having a drive full of files doesn't do it for me. I mean, I understand the convenience factor. I understand the portability and all that kind of stuff. But I dig having the package and having the CD in my hand and putting it in the CD player. I enjoy it. There's something about that that's still magical to me.
Yeah, and then looking at the wall of CDs that you have to put together. So actually, when we were trying to figure out the release of the album, we found out that the packaging we wanted was not going to be very cheap. And so we had people telling us no one cares about lyrics anymore, just put on a little QR code and they can go to your website and read it. I'm I don't know. So we actually went full out. We have it's a 6-panel digipack. So really cool artwork throughout, cool artwork under the disc, on the disc. We want to make it special. We want to make it special all around and make people feel like they got something for their money, not just oh, it's a CD and a really boring sleeve. Exciting. We wanted people to feel some effort was put into the whole deal, not just, yes, it's all about the music, but by the same token, people, there is something to be said for cool packaging. Cool, man. Hey, kudos to you guys for keeping it old school with paying attention to the actual physical packaging.
Yeah, I'm a music fan. I mean, I know what I would want to get. I know, the music I want to listen to is the stuff that, I listen to most music in my car. So, I want stuff I enjoy driving to, singing along, rocking out. And so that's kind of, one of my guiding things as far as the music we play, since it is kind of across the punk, hard rock, and metal spectrums, depending on the song. But the overriding thing is it's good, it's fun music to drive around to and sing and scream and just kind of rock out to.
Awesome, man. See, I've always said you have to, if you're going to be in this industry, it doesn't matter if you're in a band, you're a DJ, you're a promoter, it doesn't matter what you are. You got to be a fan first before you consider yourself a member of the industry.
That's how it should be. I mean, there's definitely people in it for the wrong reasons. We all know those people too.
Yeah, we all know those people, but luckily we're all able to weed around those people and only keep them involved when we really need to.
Yeah, and the thing is, for the most part is, doing this, there is such a dues-paying period, where you're working hard and not seeing a lot of, you're just dealing with a lot of frustration. Mm-hmm. You better love what you're doing, or it's not worth it. Exactly. If you just want to play out every weekend and get paid, you go do wedding bands or cover bands, kind of, short-term payout bullshit. And not that those aren't talented musicians, but I personally, I don't see the soul and the passion in it. Whereas it's the people who love what they're doing and who are in it for the right reasons, and or will suffer through all the stupid bullshit over the years, and the drama and the chaos and disappointments, and as well as obviously enjoy the good times, and the cool stuff.
Yeah.
But you gotta love what you're doing to do it right.
Awesome, man. That's awesome. I love that you guys are doing it that way, and I don't want to take up too much more of your time, and I know everyone's on a busy schedule with the dates you guys got coming up, and it's awesome talking to you. Remember getting Reclamation from Mongrel out on September 25th. The CD release party for those of you here in the New York City area, or hell, if you're in Jersey, Connecticut, drive. It'll be worth it. Get on down to the Trash Bar Friday, September 28th at 8 p.m. is when the doors open. So get down there to 21 and over show. So check that one out. Adam, thank you for taking the time out and talk about the band and the album. I look forward to getting the album and giving it a listen as soon as you guys can get one out to me. And hey, before you go, I always ask of those that spend time with me here inside the asylum for two things. First thing I want to ask you is a song request that I will dig up right now and play as soon as we wrap up this interview.
How about Knife Man by the Bronx?
Nice Man by the Bronx. All right, I think I can dig that one up. And while I do that, why don't you do me a favor whenever you are ready? Just cut me a promo for the station. Just give me your name, the band you are with, our station, BullspikeRadio.com, and of course, have fun with it.
All right. Creative on the fly. All right.
Hey, makes it interesting.
Man, that has to be interesting too. Jesus Christ. All right.
Well, no.
I'm just kidding.
Just have fun.
We'll make this happen. All right. Ready?
Whenever you're ready.
Okay. This is Adam Savage from the band Mongrel, and you're listening to Turbo on BullspikeRadio.com because he supports the local scene. The underground. I screwed it all up.
Do it again. Do it again.
All right.
I'm still trying to find the song from the Bronx, and all I can find is their album 3, and I don't see the song that you're asking for.
They have 3 self-titled albums.
Oh, and all I found all I got is number 3.
Your Knife Man is on Bronx 3. Should be the first track.
Oh, okay, I see it. Oh, good shit. All right, good. So let's get that promo, and then I will give you a Knife Man.
Cool.
Good, man. Try it again.
All right. This is Adam Savage from the band Mongrel, and you're listening to Turbo on BullspikeRadio.com, where the underground is truly supported.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much, Adam, for taking the time out and spending some
my
time
pleasure, man.
Inside the asylum. Again, everyone get out to that show at the Trash Bar. Get the album Reclamation on September 25th. And here it is, as requested, Knife Man from the Bronx right now on the asylum.